Hello, friends, family, loved ones, City Church. It's so good to be with you again. I'm so excited because we just came off of one of the best weeks that we could, and that's Easter. The week of Easter. It is what our faith is all based in. And one of my favorite things about it is it's a week full of storytelling. I love a good story. I think most people do. I love reading books because the stories are good. I love watching movies. I love telling stories. I love hearing them. All of those things. A good story makes you say, now what? My daughter is a huge Marvel fan. She's seen all of the movies. I think there's 22 in the series of movies now. And the great thing that those movies do is they leave you in a position where you want to know, now what? Now sometimes they'll go from one story to the next. It doesn't tell you now what. It'll give you some information or some key details, but it's always making you question, now what? What's the next thing? And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today and continue through this week of talking about now what. Well, let's talk about what happened directly after Jesus was crucified. Let's look at the book of Luke, chapter 24. Verse number 1 says, "On the first day of the week, very early in the morning, the women took spices they had prepared and went to the tomb. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were there, wandering about, suddenly two men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground, but the men said, 'Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee. The Son of Man must be delivered over to the hands of sinners, be crucified, and on the third day be raised again.' Then they remembered his words." So that tells us exactly what happened next. But that still doesn't answer the then what. We know the little bit of details. And that's where we are in this story, is the now what. See, I'm so excited about telling you the now what. Over this week, we're going to look at some things that happen, some key details that lead us up to the now what. And that's what I want us to know. I want us as a church to know now what. We know that Jesus came, that Jesus was born of a virgin. He lived a sinless life. He laid his own life. The book of John, chapter 10 says, Jesus said, "I lay my life down voluntarily, and I will voluntarily take it up again, because I was given that authority by the Father." See, we know that Jesus chose to do what he did because he knew that that would bring us redemption. He knew that that would put us in a right relationship with the Father. That was the whole goal. But now what? This is the burning question. Is we saw that Jesus accomplished that. He died. He rose again. We're going to see later in this week as we look at this, we're going to see times where Jesus actually, when he rose from the dead, talked with his friends, interacted with them. But now what? Why? Why did all of this happen? What was the whole purpose? What were we going to do? Yes, the whole purpose was to bring us into relationship with the Father. But now what? Now what do we do? I have a relationship with the Father because of what Jesus did. But now what? You have a relationship with the Father because of what Jesus did. Now what? I'm so excited that we spend this week telling the story of now what.